Hi, I'm Zack Allison, and I am racing the OneSpeed Open in Fort Collins on March 29th, 2025. Inside of 2 weeks until the OneSpeed Open race day, this video is going to be how to make your bike single speed. Not a lot of rules on the OneSpeed Open. Follow the course, wear a helmet, and your bike can only have one usable gear. So I'll run you through how I'm going to make my bike single speed, but also how you can make your bike have one gear if you don't have a dedicated single speed like some of us don't have. So what is the OneSpeed Open? The OneSpeed Open is a mostly gravel bike race in Fort Collins where you compete on a single speed. It's been going on for nearly 20 years. It's one of the longest running gravel bike races in Fort Collins. Started by Rafael a long time ago, and I took a year off last year, but it is happening again in 2025, and it is March 29th. The details for OneSpeed Open are on the Friends of Foco Fondo website. You will donate to one of two nonprofits for your entry fee of $20, super cheap, and then we raise from Lee Martinez Park on the 29th. So let's make the bike that I'm gonna run single speed, but first let's run through some options if you don't have this setup, but you want to race, but you don't have a single speed. If you have a SRAM shifting that is electronic and wireless, this is probably the most lame way to make your bike single speed. Not gonna blow any shade on you, but you can just take your battery out. So choose the gear you want on your SRAM setup. If it's a 1x, super easy, just choose the gear you want on the cassette, pop your battery out, boom, you have a single speed. Don't even bring your battery. You're racing a single speed race and you just made your bike single speed by taking the battery out. If you have SRAM mechanical, you can zip tie your shifters. So if you just put a zip tie around your shifter lever really tight so that you can't shift, that is allowable. Again, you're not expected to have a full single speed dedicated setup. The way that I'll run through this Shimano build, you can do on a SRAM mechanical setup to make it actually have one gear, and then you wouldn't have to zip tie your shifters, and then you actually have a single speed. So that's a little bit cooler than just zip tying your shifters. But if that's what you got to do to make your bike single speed and you don't want to mess with anything else, that's a possibility. If you have Shimano mechanical, I would recommend doing the way that I'm going to do it with Shimano electronic, in taking off all your cogs except for one cog and taking off a chainring and just having one chainring. You have a full single speed. All right, so for my setup, I want one gear, like whatever it takes. I don't have to mess with my shifters or derailleurs or anything. It's super easy on Shimano GRX 2x cranks because there's a separate set of bolts for the big chainring and the small chainring. So you can just take the little chainring off and you don't have to use spacers or anything for the chainring bolts to have one chainring. If you have a 2x setup, if you've already got a 1x setup, you've already got one ring, so you don't actually have to mess with anything on the front end. On the back end, I have a bunch of spacers from different cassettes. It's the same spacers for 9, 10, 11, 12 speed cassettes, so I have a bunch of spacers lying around. I picked the cog I want for the speed and cadence for the course, around 90 to 100 RPM at like 20 miles an hour. 48, 14 is kind of sweet spot there. It's a pretty fast course, but there are some hills and stuff, so you got to grind up the hills and you'll be spun out sometimes. I think a 48, 14 is kind of the right gear for me. Choose your cassette cog, single cog wisely. If you want to spin a little bit faster, you can go to a 15, 16, 17. It just depends on the chainring that you have. So I found the cog I wanted, spaced it out, put it on the free hub body, one chainring, one cog. You might have to mess with how many spacers are on the wheel side or the outside to get the chain line right. You want the chain line to be straight from the chainring to the cog, so it's not at an angle and falling off the cog or the chainring. And there you go, it's a single speed. It has one gear. Even though the shifters work, even though the derailleurs work, I don't have to mess with any of the settings on any of that. It has one usable gear. It is now a full single speed. You can do this with any SRAM Shimano with mechanical. I think this is the best way to make your mechanical bike single speed instead of zip tying shifters or something less cool like that. It's pretty easy. You can take it to the bike shop, take it to Brave New Wheel. They can make it single speed super easily too. for a fee if you're just not into working on your own stuff, but it is kind of fun trying out a couple different gears and making your bike single speed for that one time of the year that you do a single speed race. And then you know how to do it, and maybe you want to do a single speed cross race or something like that, and now you have the skills. So OneSpeed Open, March 29th, 2025. This is my InVMOG setup for the OneSpeed Open. Register by donating to the nonprofits that are listed on the Friends of Foco Fondo page. All the details are on Friends of Foco Fondo, and the route will be released the day before the race start. So keep an eye out for that.